The main issue in Honduras is considered safety and security. Most of it is due to gang violence and drug trafficking violence, as well as some tough cultural situations where it's a very strongly patriarchal society. My name is Daniela Leal. I am from Honduras. I'm from Tegucigalpa, and I came to Canada in 2016. Um, I am an illustrator. I am a woodworker. Um, I have a degree in cultural studies and international development, and I am involved in certain forms of activism and research at the same time. Honduras, let's say the situation since 2016 up to now has had, in a way, a lot of changes, but at the same time, when you're there, everything feels the same. Basically, there's been, like, the main issue in Honduras is considered safety and security. Most of it is due to gang violence and drug trafficking violence, as well as some tough cultural situations where it's a very strongly patriarchal society, religious patriarchal society, where cases of violence among individuals remain in impunity. So my focus, inspired by these issues, but also questioning other aspects of the culture and identity in Honduras, I started researching migration, the migration patterns from Central America, specifically to the United States, but also with a focus on the act of leaving. Like, why do people leave? Why is there an urge to leave and a normalization of leaving Honduras? The governments since 2016 have been very varied. There was a long term of I guess it would be considered a conservative government. I don't know if that has a lot of relevance to call whether a government is conservative or not in the context of Honduras, because it comes down more to specific forms of power, specific forms of corruption, wherein government leaders are involved in drug trafficking and are involved in mismanagement of funds, which in the end has an effect beyond the ideology of a party in power. So all of these are factors for the, what would you say, for people leaving Honduras. But at the same time, the massive, let's say the huge caravans that leave from Honduras, and also the variety of people from every social class that leave the country, guide to the question of what else is there under this migratory journey. So there's this thing about national identity and the departure of people from Honduras being integrated into the national identity. So basically my stance, or my research thesis, is to question, regardless of what is to question, like, is it true, or could it be true that regardless of what the situation is in Honduras, would people still want to leave the country? That's one of the questions. And second is, what is the effect of the departure of mostly young men, but more and more young families leaving the country. I came here as a student in 2016. It's quite normalized for, like I said, yeah, it's quite normalized to picture yourself leaving Honduras at any point in your life for any reason, whether it's because you think you could get a better education elsewhere or because you're escaping some form of violence. I was lucky that I wasn't escaping any form of violence. I came here for an education. I went to Trent University as a student, and currently I'm in, let's say, process of getting my permanent residency. I focus my research on migration from the perspective of both cultural studies and international development studies. Yeah. My activism is research based. What that involves, like the social aspect that involves, is interacting with your subjects, making sure that the information that you are reading on other people's research and papers is also something tangible, something that I personally know. So when I'm in Honduras, I line up interviews to ask people on their experiences with migration or the idea of migration, or yeah, like what is their experience. Basically in Honduras, if you're from there, you know someone that has left the country. It doesn't matter what social class you're from, you know people that have left legally or illegally, or that have entered different countries legally or illegally. So it's kind of like different perspectives from the same research, and at the same time, it's helpful that it happens through a long period of time, because obviously the political situation in the host country right now has changed a lot. So it would be interesting to see, okay, what do people think now? What are the current tendencies of people leaving Honduras? At the same time, with this research, I've given some talks specifically for a group from Trent University, nursing, that does social work in Honduras. They do a practicum period in Honduras, and it works as a cultural orientation session. And at the same time, it's a moment where the students that take that trip have put some time into self-reflection to understand who they are as subjects that are imparting knowledge sessions in Honduras. So like nursing students that are training other nursing students in Honduras, and that are in turn learning from their experience there, basically. And finally, my most recent, I think, participation where this knowledge and this research is relevant has been with an organization called Horizons of Friendship in Cobourg, Ontario. Their main work, or I think their first project, involved support for specifically Guatemalan agricultural workers in Canada who work under closed work permits for farms in Ontario. And they have expanded. They have a few other projects in Costa Rica, Mexico, and recently a project for Honduras has been approved. It's with a school called Reyes Irene Valenzuela. It's a school for young women who haven't had the opportunity to finish their basic studies. So it's like a bridge so that the young women don't come to an age or come to a situation in their life where that opportunity is not realistic anymore. So whether it's due to violence or due to poverty, having to help out their families, or maybe having kids that they think, oh, I've lost my opportunity to study, the school comes in and supports them and prepares them for professional life that they might not have had the opportunity to do so otherwise. The challenge comes from the question. Sometimes the challenge comes from Hondurans themselves. And it also comes from, I think, progressive circles in North America, because it can feel like the question is anti-migration. It can feel like it's not supporting the cause of open borders. And I understand that challenge, because even while writing, I feared that the topic would lean that way, and I had to be careful with my language so that it wouldn't be easy to take it out of context and put my research into something that I don't agree with. Like I said, in Honduras, it's also a challenge for people to welcome this question, because it has been really normalized to have this idea that you will leave, that you will go to the United States, North America, or Europe. So it's like, I think it's a moral, or it can affect people's ego, like people's things that they consider normal, or like some desires that you have in your mind. And yeah, that would be one thing. And the next thing would actually be having the space to do the research, having the institution that could support me doing this research due to my immigration status. I'm still not a permanent resident, so higher education has a financial obstacle for me at the moment. But I do what I can in staying informed and brainstorming, and yeah, just using creative ways to still be in touch with this theme. Conversations with Hondurans, wherein I don't think it's my success, but I think it's moments of interesting points for my research, but also interesting points for my perspective, and it's just something hopeful as well, is when like I introduce a topic to young people in Honduras, and they themselves say like, yeah, the goal is to stay in Honduras because this is where I have my family, and even if I'm living in poverty, I have my family, and this is something important for me. So that's not my success, that's just like some sort of hope that I get from interacting with subjects. I think career-wise, it's just being able to share the research, having opportunities to affect Canadians, like with the students, the nursing students from Trent. Whenever we finish the talks, everyone seems motivated and has new perspectives on themselves and the subjects that they are. So it's definitely like changing minds, opening minds.